in some breaking updates now, viewers. Nepal has now put a hold on the constitution amendment for a new map that had upset India. In fact, the constitutional amendment pushed hard by Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli to alter Nepal's map has been put on hold. In fact, people familiar with the development have stated this. In fact, this is a big diplomatic win for India at this point. This is a new political map placed Indian territories of Kalapani and other places in Nepal that was seen an effort by Prime Minister Oli to consolidate himself in the Nepal Communist Party government as well. We'll be joined by our executive editor Abhishek Kapoor with more details on this. So Abhishek, this is a big diplomatic win for India. Nepal has now put a hold to the constitution amendment for new map that had upset India.
Well, Richa, this is, as we have been maintaining, was a product of internal politics of Nepal. So what has happened is that KP Sharma Oli, because of his turf war going on with Pushpa Kumar Dahal Prachanda, because they are co-chairman of the Communist Party of Nepal, which is ruling, wanted to assert his extreme nationalism, and that is why I brought this map in the cabinet, got it approved and rushed to the parliament. It's there where the main opposition party, the Nepal Congress or the Nepali Congress, has said that no, they are not going to clear it. This map has to go to the Central Working Committee, and if the Central Working Committee approves, then it can be approved in Parliament. So essentially what it means is that this new map, which was essentially a product of the whims and fancies of the Prime Minister of Nepal, KP Sharma Oli, also which was the product of his turf war with Pushpa Kumar Dahal Prachanda, has been put on hold. I mean, this really vindicates India's position that this has nothing to do with Lipulekh being India's territory or not being India's territory. It is proven, it's a matter of record, it's a matter of facts on the ground that the road has been built entirely on Indian territory, and that whatever was done or the developments in Nepal were essentially a product of internal dynamics within the Nepali politics, specifically in the Nepali Communist Party. And with this holding of this map, because the Nepali Congress
All right, we'll try to go back to Abhishek shortly, but this is a big diplomatic win for India. Nepal has now put a hold on the constitutional amendment for a new map that had upset India earlier. In fact, this constitutional amendment pushed hard by Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli to alter Nepal's map has been put on hold. And in fact, this was the new political map placed Indian territories of Kalapani and other several places in Nepal that was seen in an effort by the Prime Minister to consolidate himself as a forefront runner in its political diaspora as well. Let's go across to Abhishek again. Abhishek, as you were rightly stating, this could have been seen as a political move done by Nepal's Prime Minister. You can also give us more background of what exactly had happened that led and now backtracking from his decision now.
Well, Richa, as I was explaining earlier, the development was essentially a product of internal dynamics of Nepal. The road through Lipulekh, which connects India's Pithoragarh district to Lipulekh Pass and beyond, and makes travel to Kailash Mansarovar easier, makes it the shortest route, reduces travel time to and fro by about 6 days. That 80-kilometer of road, which was remotely inaugurated by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. KP Sharma Oli took that opportunity to claim that no, this was Nepali territory and that these are old claims going back to the Treaty of Sugoli of 1816 with the British, and hence released a new map. Now, what had happened was he got a new map, got it approved by the cabinet, obviously because his party is in power, and then put it in public domain. But then, as it happens, it had to go through parliamentary procedure. Nepal is a parliamentary democracy. That's where it got stuck, because the Nepali Congress has clearly taken a position that this is not going to be approved till the time that the Central Working Committee of the Nepali Congress goes through it, which is going to be a certain process that has to be followed, and hence this map has been put on hold. There would be subsequent developments, obviously, because within Nepal there are differences as to whether what Oli did was brinkmanship with India to save his own post in his turf war that is going on with Pushpa Kumar Dahal Prachanda, or whether there was something more to it. So, this is an evolving situation. Things would develop from here. But essentially, this vindicates India's position that as facts stand on the ground, Lipulekh and the
Right.
road, which was inaugurated, is an Indian territory, has been so for quite some time, and the Nepali
Right.
Prime Minister.
In fact, Abhishek, stay with us. We'll also go across to Dr. Sriram Chaulia, who's a strategic affairs expert, joining us over the phone line. Sir, your reaction to a diplomatic win for India. Nepal has put on hold the constitutional amendment of the new controversial map that had upset India earlier.
Well, it shows clearly that we have done our homework, and we know that there are large segments of people in the Nepalese political elites and also the ordinary people who love India. So we have worked with them, and we have ensured that this, dangerous step by KP Sharma Oli does not go forward. And it's also a setback for, the anti-India elements in Nepal and their external backers, because we know very well that the current Prime Minister, as Abhishek was mentioning, one is playing partisan politics in order to, keep his own position. And he's like a chameleon. He has changed colors many times in his careers. At some times he has been singing India's praises, other times he's been singing China's praises. A lot of these Nepalese elites, especially Maoist communists, but even sometimes even the Nepalese Congress, they try to play this India card for purely domestic reasons. So I don't think Nepal is going to benefit strategically from alienating India. And I think there is sufficient community consensus in Nepal that they should not antagonize India like this. Using irresponsible phrases like Indian virus and such things did not go down well. And I think a lot of Nepalese themselves know that it is India remains their lifeline. Is culturally, our Prime Minister has invested so much in Pashupatinath and in building the cultural bridges with Nepal. We continue to be very generous with them economically. So raising the territorial dispute, I think is just foolhardy. And I think the better sense has prevailed. And I think good marks to our government and our leadership, because they have worked behind the scenes to cut this dangerous step. Because sometimes what happens is, you remember the time when the Nepalese elites claimed that India had blockaded them. I mean, that was a low point a few years ago. And at that point, I think our political attention was divided and we were not giving 100%. But now we realize that some of these small neighbors can be attention hungry. And they want, personal care from the topmost levels of our leadership. So I think those signals have gone through this time. The better crisis management we have done with this. We should not be overly emotional about Nepal. We should make sure we are strategic about Nepal and make sure it remains in our fold.
Right. Thank you so much, Dr. Sriram Chaulia, for joining us.